This is a tutorial for creating the teases for the Take 30 Show Open. The teases are created by the person on the crew list deemed the tease creator. The first thing you need to do is make sure that you've gathered all your files, set your scratch disks properly. You need the More AIFF file, you need the Corbett 16:9 bully clip, as well as the teaser video files and the teases. The teases can be found online in our digital Dropbox, which has the same email, username, and password as our Gmail account. The first thing you want to do is create a new sequence, because Final Cut 7 always has a new sequence with blank format. And the first clip that you import to the sequence will create the format for the entire sequence. This is why we want to import a 16:9 clip first, because the SMS wants a 16:9 format. Excuse me. The next thing I'm going to import is the teaser video. We have a little bit of an intro, and then we're going to have the tease. So you'll notice there's a lot of black video and audio, but at the beginning it kind of fades into a little bit of our open. You want to select the clip and use the left arrow to make sure that we go to the very first black frame. So I'm going to go to the last frame, install a marker on the first black frame, and this will let me know where I need to superimpose my first teaser clip. So I'm going to go ahead and put an endpoint to let my computer know where I'm going to superimpose the clip. Remember, when you superimpose clips, where the V1, the A1, and the A2 are, determine where the clip will be superimposed. It's always going to be one track above where this is located and 2 tracks below here. Excuse me. So I'm going to import my first clip, which is my first tease, 8 seconds in length, as should all of the teases, and I'm going to superimpose it by going to a superimpose edit. I'm going to clear my endpoint so I don't superimpose into the same location, and I'm going to move to the very end, install an endpoint, superimpose the next tease, then I would go to the end, install my endpoint, and superimpose the third and final tease. Again, I want to clear my endpoint. You want to make sure that there is a nice transition between the audio between each clip. You can install audio transitions, or you can create custom audio transitions by installing keyframes. You also want to make sure that you fade the audio out for the tease at the end. So just in case you forgot how to do this, I'm going to show you how to install keyframes and adjust the audio manually. If you hit the bottom arrow key or the down arrow key, that will go to the out point of the clip. You can see that my playhead is at the out point. So this is the out point of the audio. I'm going to install a keyframe, and I can tell I installed a keyframe because it is green. I'm going to then move my playhead down a little bit and install another keyframe. The further the keyframe is from each other, the slower and more gradual the fade. Now I'm going to go to the last keyframe, and I'm going to drag the audio all the way down so that way it fades out entirely. This will allow us to have a smoother audio transition into our show open. At this point, you're ready to export. Remember though, you need to make sure that you have nice smooth audio transitions between each in and out point on the teases. Remember, just like any audio that will be in interviews, teases, or things like that, it needs to be at the -12 decibel range. So when you play this, these should be at the -12 decibel range. Whereas the clip with the show tease audio needs to be lower so that way we can hear the audio of the teases. So not only do I want to fade this audio out, but I want to go back to the beginning by hitting the arrow key up, and it'll take me to the beginning of my audio. I'm going to install a keyframe, and I'm going to make sure that the first time I hit the tease, I will be creating a fade that allows me to lower the audio. So this marker does come in very handy. So I can install a keyframe, and it's at the marker. I can see it here and here. Then I'm going to also move it back a little bit and install another keyframe. At this point, I'm going to drag this down so that way I can make sure I can hear the audio of the teases. With every edit you make, you always want to double check it. So we're going to play it. So you can't really hear the audio of the song, so I'm going to bring it back up a little bit. And you did hear a pop at the beginning of Megan's. Because I only created 8-second clips, I didn't go and make sure that I had her whole entire sentence because it wasn't an actual tease. So remember, you want to make sure that the audio fades in and fades out with each clip. and you always want to check it to make sure that the levels are correct. Okay, so now we'll check it on the timeline.
So you see,
A little too quiet again, so I'm going to raise it up.
it only takes a little to make a world costly. But this year, supplies ran only about $150. So you see, it only takes
So you can still hear the audio of the song, but you can also hear Megan, and Megan is needs to be at the negative 12 decibel range. So now let's just pretend hypothetically you've done all the things, nice smooth audio transitions, proper time lengths, and now what we're going to do is export it. So we're going to install an in point and an out point, and we're going to export. We're going to export by going to File, Export, QuickTime Movie. And there's a certain setting that you need to set it at when you are exporting for a clip that is going on the SMS machine. So you're going to go to Current Settings and change it to Apple ProRes 422 1920 by 1080 30 frames per second. So we're in the Apple ProRes 1920 by 1080 30 frames per second 48 for our audio, which is good. We're going to choose it. We want audio and video, and we're going to call it Show 1, Take 30 Ts, and we're going to export it.